Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus again. Here I am, having already made a post about you write in, please, Eddie Marcus as the next president of the United States. And I find myself reflecting, having made that post, and George Floyd crossed my mind. And I'm reminded, going over and over again in my head is this picture of this brother on that ground. I'm thinking this brother came through life like most of us, energetic, engaged in things that young adults get engaged in, playing sports and dreaming and having aspirations about the future, thinking about violence that he had seen perpetrated against black people himself, and wondering what would happen if he ever found himself in a situation like that. I'm sure all of us, especially we who are black, have considered that at least. And so I have to think that George has as well. But I'm sure that in his foggiest imagination, he never felt that he would find himself down on the ground, handcuffed, with a cop knee on his neck, and the cop so cavalier, he has his hands in his pocket. I'm sure out of everything he could have imagined, that he never, ever imagined. My friends, I think about that. And then I think about something else that he never could have imagined. He never could have imagined, I'm sure, that there would be people standing around, videotaping, listening to his cries, repeating his cries, encouraging the cops to refrain their activities. I'm sure he never, ever imagined that they would sit there and allow him to die. And it seems at his least, when he think about the world that he lived in, the powers that be, and all of his associations, that at a moment like this, when he was about to leave this world, there was only one power that he could trust in. And she was no longer here, his mother. That was something else for me, ladies and gentlemen. I can imagine how that brother felt before he passed. But I'm sure when he got to that point, he was about as glad as he could possibly be to be free from such a world as this that he was experiencing at that moment, and that he has revealed to us as we really are. He was a tool chosen by the Almighty God that we can't see, can't touch, but the evidence that he is still in the business of correcting and guiding us through. I can imagine how he must felt. I remember having an admiration for peace and joy in life and spending so much time trying to imagine how these things could happen. I remember when I finally had received a vision about how we could acquire those things that would actually bring us peace and prosperity and freedom and joy of life and our fulfilled dreams. When I realized that we could have what we want, our needs and our desires met. When I realized, my friends, that it was simple to have your food, your clothing, and your shelter, your education and health care. When I realized how simple it was, just using God's resources, each of us engaged in the process, creating all that we have, changing the system around so that it can get to all of us instead of anything that's distracting like business and money and all that kind of stuff. No, we just get rid of all that founded on lies and cheating and stealing and killing and hatred and bigotry. We just get rid of all of that. And I was so excited. I came and I started talking about it. I know the Democrats didn't want it because they have a different plan. Republicans didn't want it because they got a different plan. I thought the church might support it because they're always talking about the same God that I'm talking about, but they didn't want it because they were Republicans and Democrats. That broke my heart because I had recently married, maybe a year or so, and I had promised my wife that we were going to have a great life. We were going to live like we were in heaven, heaven on earth. I just was excited. I guess she probably was thinking where this joke was coming from. But I saw it. I trusted, at least the church, I trusted them that they might, come through. But I came out there, and all I got was telling me to throw that stuff in the dump and go out there and engage myself in the systems of the world that I see as being evil. Engage myself in it, get me some money, and make my life a little bit easier. When I'm only living at this point in time, because when I was at the point where George Floyd was in, it wasn't a cop, it was another situation. But God came, and I am the evidence that there is a God. So I can't go out there and engage in this world the way you're doing stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I can't do that. I know this stuff is backwards. I know it's designed to do exactly what it's doing. And so when I was disappointed after running for president, then in 2000, George Bush, I knew George Bush didn't mean anything in this country. I had to commit another crime to see if I can wake you up. I didn't mind taking a chance that you might not wake up. And if you didn't wake up, I'd have to go to prison. I took a chance. I took somebody's money. I took my employer's money so I could get attention. Turned myself in to the police so I can get attention. The news media wouldn't even tell you. They didn't want me to get attention. So I went and I did the time. I came out the day the World Trade Center had that, whatever happened there. I'm disappointed. Because every year, you listen to these politicians tell you these lies. And I can't even get the word to you. But I'm still out here trying, ladies and gentlemen, because I know the value. I know what's going on in all of this. And so because of this, ladies and gentlemen, I am still seeking to be the President of the United States because of what I offer to the people. Now, see, you have heard me say that this is Judgment Day. And what I mean by that is this. What happened with George Floyd was not just an incidental thing. That was a magical moment for the world to see about the world powers. The world powers, I don't care where you at in the globe, on the globe, all of the powers are represented with that white guy, that cop with the knee on the neck. That's the world powers. The evidence of it is because there's pain and there's suffering everywhere. That's what George Floyd was going through, pain and suffering. The world that was the people that were video and telling them, the cops to stop, that represent all of us in all of these countries watching pain and suffering continue, and we do nothing about it. We can complain, but we do nothing about it. And because we do nothing about it, what happened to George? Now, we want something that's changed and be different. We got to do something about it and stop waiting on somebody to do it for us. I say, heaven is too good to wait for. Why should we wait for heaven? Let's create it. I hope you feel the same way. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I just thought I'd share this with you to let you know that my interest in being president is to create, with your power, by your approval, with your engagement, a better society for us all. That's all.